Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining this session this morning. My name is Matt Haynes. I'm the European Distribution Business Manager here for HID PACS division. Joined this morning by my colleague, Martin Hammerberg from our pre-sales team. Thanks very much again for joining. As you can imagine, we still have a few people joining on the call this morning. Just a couple of housekeeping things before we start. There's a questions box you will see on your interface that you can log questions at any time during the presentation, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end. And a full apology, just in case it's needed, as I'm sure you guys are as well. I'm working from home and my children are running around, so if there's any unnecessary noise in the background, I apologize in advance for that. So with that said, let's start the presentation. So for those who haven't come across me before, my name is Matt Haynes. A picture of me there on the left, and I'm joined by my colleague Martin. Good morning, Martin.
Good morning, Matt, and everybody.
So the agenda we'll be covering off this morning. We'll be looking at the evolution of credential technology, some market data, and we're talking through the credential security situation today. Talking, of course, to you about Seos, introducing to you Seos for the first time, or reintroducing you if you've come across Seos before. The benefits of adoption. We'll touch on our portfolio range in the Seos division. A brief conclusion and a Q&A session. So as many questions as you want, please put down. You will get a copy of this recording afterwards, and you will see in the handout section on the interface the ability for you to download some data sheets and the brochure on the Seos portfolio. So when we look at the evolution of credential technology, the first IBM introduced a magstripe card in the early 70s, and for those of you who have got some spare time on their hands at home during this time, I would invite you to just research a guy called John Wiegand, who was born in Germany in 1912 and was the pioneer of the Wiegand effect and the Wiegand card. HID, of course, formed in 1991, and we introduced then the technologies with Prox, which was later on in the 90s, 125 kilohertz, with no encryption, of course, in that time of the credential life cycle. We saw data storage inside the card and memory chip. Moving forward into the early 2000s, we saw the evolution of 1356 frequency, high frequency, to store more information, to speed up the transactional speed between the card and the reader. And then encryption was, of course, then supplied for better protection. In the 2010s, the evolution became even better with the introduction of additional safeguards. Specifically from an HID standpoint, we introduced the SIO as an added layer of security, something which Martin will touch on a little bit just later on. And the latest addition to the portfolio is Seos. So from the outlook of the card, of course, it's hard to tell sometimes what technology the card is based on its appearance. The card, of course, follows ISO standards that look the same right the way back to the 1970s. It can be using technology that's outdated or technology that's current. Again, it's pretty hard to tell from the card itself. So we'll cover that off. So a little bit of market data for you. So good opportunity to use your chat box for the first time, or your questions box. If anyone would like to have a guess, and if you've been on this presentation before, or you've seen this presentation before, I invite you not to answer this, but anyone would like to have a guess of what the total physical access control market size was in 2018. I'll give people a couple of seconds to try and think about that and put an answer in billions of dollars. This would be. So, what do you think? Yeah, some answers coming through. There we go. There's someone that's got it pretty close. So, yeah, through to reveal the answer. The actual total size was about $5.5 billion. Apparently, it's greater than the GDP of Montenegro or Barbados. So out of that, of course, we were looking at credential technology. We're looking at, what proportion of that do we think was actually cards? So around 10% of the total PAX figure is cards, and around 50% of that focuses on either high frequency cards or high frequency cards in a combination format with maybe a low frequency or magstripe or other combinations available. So when we look at the trends of RFID credential shipments from 2018 and a projection through to 2022, we can see that the 125 kilohertz prox cards starts to tail off ever so slightly, but remains fairly solid. But we can obviously see a rapid increase over the last 2 or 3 years, and moving forward the next 2 or 3 years of high frequency credentials, which gives us obviously information that I'm sure you guys are already aware of and are using, that default credentials really should be of a high security nature. So PAX credentials, where are we today? Question: is the card really secure enough for secure access control? If you're using a 125 kilohertz card, well, the answer, of course, is no, not anymore. And we'll come on to some reasons why just shortly. If you're using a 1356 or a smart card, what's the answer? I guess some people would say just yes as default, but it really depends, and we'll go into some details as to what that really means. So it depends on the technology, how this technology is utilized, and of course how the data is provisioned on the credential itself. So HID did a combined survey with ASIS back in 2016, and this slide really demonstrates sort of some of the questions that were asked and some of how well technology was understood by the audience that was being asked. And this slide more really about the history of things. So, we asked people what is a CSN, and only a few people didn't know. The majority did know, which was good, encouraging. Interesting question next: is the CSN encrypted? And again, 82% of people didn't know if the CSN was encrypted or not. And the third question we asked really was, what credentials are you using today? To the audience of predominantly key decision makers in the credential space. So, vast majority knew, which was encouraging, but there's still a large proportion, 26%, who didn't know. When we talk about 125 kilohertz technology, it's interesting. We do obviously a YouTube search. You can see various different cloning videos and capabilities on the system. I did a Google search last night, and there was 4.5 million hits when I put access control card cloning in there. So it's not new to anybody that you can clone a card. The nature of entrepreneurialism. There's companies in the States where you can go out to a kiosk and clone and copy a 125 kilohertz card for as little as $15. You go onto websites like Taboo, and obviously you can buy these cloners available on other websites, Amazon or eBay or AliExpress or whatever. But yeah, it's readily available now that we can take a 125 kilohertz card and clone it pretty easily. And if you're using certain Android devices, there's even apps to look at MyFair Classic as well now on Google Play, and you can have fun determining what serial numbers are on even MyFair Classic. So what's the solution here? So the solution really is to look at secure encrypted and carefully managed credentials. So we introduce you to Seos, which is the next generation of credential technology that provides a mix of security and flexibility to suit most or any organizations. This is generally down to the high advanced encryption and the software-based infrastructure that Seos provides to host a trusted identity on a variety of form factors. We'll cover those off, and it can be extended for applications outside of the physical access control base. So there's three pillars we're going to cover off in terms of where Seos supersedes other technologies. First of all, we'll look at security. Modern credentials require, of course, an independence from the underlying hardware chip, so that not just cards, but phones, wearables, and other form factors can be used interchangeably as authentic and trusted credentials. Seos is a software-based credential technology, so it's indeed not tied to the underlying hardware chip. So where does it supersede other technologies? So security, and Martin will cover the security side of this off in a short while. But security offers a high level of data and privacy protection than legacy or competing credential technologies. It's because Seos takes a layered security approach and uses stringent best practices for data protection. From a mobility standpoint, Seos can be ported onto different microprocessor devices, and we'll cover that off shortly as well. So the ability to be delivered into multiple form factors. And finally, another pillar of Seos's advantages are the applications that can be extended beyond that of just access control and tailored to meet in markets such as enterprise, government, education, hospitality, and more. With that, I hand over to my colleague Martin. He will take you through some of the elements of the security side of things. Thanks, Martin.
Thank you, Matt. I would like to talk a little bit about Seos security, which is crucial for protecting people and assets every day. Seos adheres to best practices for data protection and widely reviewed open standards. In fact, it utilizes the same standards as electronic passports, secure signature creation devices, and various payment cards. These include key management. Seos goes beyond simplistic methods to calculate card-specific keys, which are bound only to application and role. Mutual authentication. Seos provides best-in-class message integrity protection, validating the authenticity of the card and reader to each other, and establishing the seed for future session keys used later. Secure messaging. Seos reduces vulnerabilities and protects the integrity of the session as a whole, regardless of its length. Message deletion, insertion, replay, or reordering is detected and rejected automatically by the Seos platform. Seos is also standards-based, so it proactively uses open global standards that are regularly reviewed, checked, and verified by authorities to offer the most transparent level of security possible. This is in contrast to many proprietary systems which usually do not evolve unless the solution is publicly compromised. This strict adherence to the highest security standards of data and privacy helps Seos to better protect organizations from today's threats and vulnerabilities more than any other solution on the market. Seos and its corresponding platform ICLAS SE and HID Signo leverage a layered security approach, meaning that the technology combines multiple layers of mitigating security controls to protect the resources and data. One of these security layers comes from the Secure Identity Object, or the SIO, which is a cryptographically protected data model for storage of secure identity data, such as a user ID. The SIO is a portable ID that can be programmed on a number of physical credentials and can be leveraged by third-party applications and products. The Seos SIO is unique as it contains 4 defining characteristics that provide enhanced security protections. First of all, it contains a unique digital identity information for the user. 2, it's cryptographically bound to the device, so it contains a binding to the storage media. This ensures that the SIO cannot be copied from one credential form factor to another. 3, it's also signed at design time at time of creation and validated every time the credential is presented to an HID reader. And 4, it's encrypted, preventing unauthorized parties from reading the user ID. And this is really a great benefit when using HID credentials together with HID readers, offering security beyond what the credential security media layer itself offers. I would also like to talk a little bit about the Seos core. So the Seos core is what allows for secure storage of digital information. The Seos core can be a native application or an applet. The way that data is structured within the Seos core is similar to a concept of a file folder system. It's allowed to put different folders in the Seos core to contain different identity information. And each folder can only be accessed with the right credentials. The main area of the credential is called the global dedicated file. This contains data that relates to the whole core, such as unique identifiers and keys. The next layer contains of the ADFs, or the application dedicated files, and the terminology actually comes from the ISO standard. Each of these contains unique credential data for each application loaded onto the core. This could be a secure identity object, or the SIO, that itself is encrypted, or any open data. For example, in this case, ADF1 might contain the credentials for physical access control. ADF2 can contain employee secure print access or logical access. And there can be a number of ADFs stored on the card, each one capable of being unique and private from all the others. The number of ADFs capable of being stored within the core is only limited by the memory size of the chip. So over to you, Matt, to talk more about mobility.
Thanks, Martin. Really interesting stuff. Thanks for covering that off. So when we look at Seos, we want to really of how we can port that onto other devices. So as we've mentioned before, the underlying mythology of Seos is it's a software-based credential technology, meaning it's not tied to the underlying hardware chip. The independence of this allows organizations to select the right mix of hardware and form factors for their needs. We have the ability to be able to customize solutions, so security teams can issue a mix of smart cards and mobile devices to meet employee preference. Seos powers the award-winning HID mobile access solution. As we can see there, a number of different supported devices. There are over 100 compatible mobile devices. We'll show you a web page on the next slide there that'll give you a portal with the latest compatible devices we have for mobile access. So the list of mobile access devices is regularly updated to show that compatible versions of the app towards the phone Devices are marked as compatible on a reliability scale, with high reliability indicating the customer's experience, high success rate in openings. Less common devices may therefore not be listed, although they could be compatible. Of course, due to the vast numbers of devices available in the marketplace today, there are countless subversions, country-specific settings, and network operator-specific settings. We, of course, cannot test all versions of every phone variant on the marketplace, but there are a few hundred different supported versions on the site. And for more information, please see this link or reach out to your HID supplier or HID pre-sales. You can see the most major common protocols are listed below, which is obviously supported by Seos. The unique agnostic concept that underpins the entire Seos ecosystem means that it could be extended to support future new protocols when and if they are released. Regardless of the form factor or communication protocol, the secure nature of a Seos transaction, as Martin describes, remains consistent, meaning that every transaction is unique and cannot be copied and cloned. Dependent, of course, how we have the Seos transactions. Seos transactions cannot be recorded, and it's resistant to replay attacks, man-in-the-middle attacks, and also reflection attacks. All cryptographic keys are diversified, with each key being unique. Now, of course, because we've talked about a card and also the phone, it would be wrong to expect a degrading in security on form factor. So you can be rest assured that whether you're using a Seos card or a Seos fob or a Seos credential on a mobile phone, the way that Seos works with an HID reader remains exactly the same in regards to security standards. Now let's look at some applications available to Seos users outside of the physical access control space. So this is another distinct pillar of Seos's capabilities, its capacity to power applications beyond traditional physical access control, such as secure printing, time and attendance, cashless vending, and IT security. Organizations need to be able to manage their digital credentials used for different applications independently, including the ability to set up different domains of trust. And of course, Martin went through the different ADF folders before. Seos powers such identities across multiple applications, far beyond traditional physical access control, for use in a wide array of industries. With Seos, we create a secure framework that protects access to those digital credentials using cryptographically strong authentication. This really is the foundation of a sort of a true multi-application, one card does all solution. As Martin demonstrated, we use an ADF folder structure. These can either be created and destroyed dynamically using the available memory over the lifetime of the credentials. So on a Seos card, we have a memory option of 8 KB or 16 KB options. As Martin demonstrated, we can either store open data or secure data, ability of one-time password generation also. As a global leader in trusted identities, HID are fortunate to and are constantly developing closer partner relations with leaders in this field with regards to effective utilization of Seos technology to build out a flexible Seos ecosystem in today's working environments. As you can see with some of the global brands on this slide, the adoption of the Seos platform is fast becoming accepted as the standard inside the industry of modern connected workplace architectures. The power and flexibility of the Seos platform offers significant practical and commercial benefits and underpins HIG's mission of powering the trusted identities of the world's people, places, and things, making sure that people transact safely, work collaboratively, and in addition, travel freely. So let's just touch briefly on the portfolio before we move into the conclusion and question and answer session. So from a traditional credential portfolio offering, we can see we have 4 offerings here. We have the single technology card, which is absolutely ideal for new installations, available in 8K or 16K memory. This comes available with fixed or a random UID option. We have really helpfully a dual technology card, a 125 kilohertz Seos card, perfect for migration of legacy HID procs in Dala or EM proximity systems. And the great nature of this, of course, is that it's independent programming capabilities. So you could have an open format, for example, a 26-bit H10301 format on the dual tech on the 125 kilohertz proc side, but you can migrate to a secure Corporate 1000 format on the Seos side of the card. So independent programming capabilities is a great addition to this particular credential. We also have, of course, the Seos and I-class dual technology card. So if you're migrating from legacy I-class elements up to the latest Seos technology, we have a card to support you on this one as well. And finally, we have the triple tech card, so which supports Seos, I-class, and procs. So we see this using this use case for this one in quite a lot of multi-technology installations, ideal for large estates that are offering different technologies in different buildings still during the migration phase. Also, where third parties is required on the card. So, for example, if there are lockers or gyms or cashless vending is required, this card is often used. It should also be noted that all these 4 credentials are available with or without magstripe and can be personalized with custom print and data through our card personalization service. We also have a specialist Seos credential range. I'll just hand back to Martin to explain a little bit more about these 2 exciting additions to our Seos range. I think we've lost Martin there. So we have the Seos 8K with a MyFair Classic 4K implementation, and recently the Seos 8K card with a MyFair DesFire implementation. These versatile cards are specifically designed where you want to split the security of the system from the physical access control, and maybe you're managing other applications through the emulated DesFire or the MyFair implementation. Saves time and resources by managing a single card instead of 2. It's secure, of course, with Seos using the latest open standards, and it's also a certified card as well. So it is based on common criteria, ELA 5+ hardware. Additionally to the range, we have the addition of a Seos key fob, 8K key fob designed to work with HID Signo readers, our I-class SE and the SE Express. And I've just put a sort of typical standard part number down there for reference. And also, if clamshell is your choice of form factor, we have a clamshell choice there as well. And again, I put the standard part number in the presentation there for you to use and adopt. So in conclusion, decades-old credential technologies are no longer enough to meet the needs of today's organization and their future growth. So those of you who have recently joined the Signo presentations we've done, you'll see how the Signo really is a cutting-edge technology, and so the credential technology should also be not the weakest link in the physical access control system. We see a lot of implementations now that are using OSDP, and those of you who are using Mercury hardware will understand the security techniques and authentication involved with Mercury, and of course then from the physical layer on the software. So the access control card or credential should not be the weakest link in this security chain. And it also should provide the user with a new level of convenience, and to not just the user, but also the employees and the administrations. With best-in-class security and varied form factor flexibility and capabilities for cutting-edge applications, Seos is the right choice in credential technology for today, tomorrow, and beyond. So thank you very much. That brings an end to the presentation. We now move on to the Q&A. Martin, are you back with us? Okay, just seeing some questions coming through. Just having some. Hi, could you please let us receive the Seos mobile partner list? Yes, we can. If you reach out to your HID supplier, we can of course provide that to you. Thank you for the presentation. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. We have a few installs where tenants of their own systems, we've come across quite a few times where the right card would be a Seos and Desfire card. Are these available?
Can you hear me again?
Hi, Martin. You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I have some technical difficulties here.
Okay, so can you talk a little bit, Martin, about the implementation of the Seos and the Desfire card? We have some questions about that here.
Yes, 1 second. Let's see the question here. Okay. The first question is about, can you just pause it with the first question, because I just reconnected it.
Yeah.
So there is one question. We have a few installs where the tenants have their own systems. We've come across quite a few times where the right card would be Seos and Desfire ED2. Why aren't these available? So first of all, to elaborate a little bit on that, there are two types of combination cards. There are cards that have combined two chips. So, for example, one Seos chip and one NXT Desfire chip. But the Seos and Micro Desfire emulation card we have is actually a single chip card, which is much more powerful and offers much better performance compared to a physical dual chip card. And the chip that we are currently using are offering ED1 implementation. So the combination of Seos and ED2, we are happy to bring that whenever it's available, but currently that is one option. And currently our customers, they are normally migrating from ED1 to Seos. And that's the most popular use. I hope that answered the question.
Okay, Martin. So there's a question here from James. As each sector wants to protect their own keys, how does it work if we install an access control system with HID Seos cards and a key for the system, and the printing company wants to use their own key and the IT department wants to use their own key? How can this be done where the cards actually are?
Yes, very good question. So this actually also highlights one of the strong benefits with HID Credential, because when you buy a Seos Credential, we provide it with an application out of the box. It can be with HID standard keys, it can be with HID Elite keys owned by the end user, but we can also do it with custom keys. And in this situation, you have one option. If the requirement is to add applications with custom keys in the field, We have seen tools to support that. For example, the ICAS FT encoder of the C1000. I also want to highlight the advantage of using mobile IDs in this situation, that each department can actually issue mobile IDs based on Seos using their own keys over the year. So mobile IDs makes this much more convenient and secure. Yes.
Thanks, Martin. Another question here about cloning. Is it possible to clone a Seos key fob?
No, it's not possible.
So, really, one of the messages we'd like to get across here is the underlying security of Seos is irrelevant to the form factor that it sits on. So, we see a lot of, for example, mobile access solutions entering the space that don't obviously have the same standards as the credentials that the suppliers are issuing. So, with Seos, we've got a consistent security procedures across the form factors we are actually using.
Exactly, and on top of that, I think you perfectly highlighted earlier, Matt, that everything is hacked. In the end, everything can be hacked, but the power of Seos, one of the great benefits of Seos is that it's software-based. So whenever one of the algorithms we are using is hacked in the future, we can safely upgrade to the next generation of security algorithms. And if we're using, again, mobile IDs, that makes also things very easy.
Yeah, 100%. Is there a meaning abbreviation of Seos? I'm not sure there is, but any answers would be the best one. Would win a prize from me for that one. Could you let us have the mobile partner list? Yep, we can do that as well. There's no problem at all. So the screen's scrolling pretty quickly. Thank you for your presentation. No worries at all. What's this question here? What is the use of third-party integration printers automatic support program for cash registers with the existing readers to use Seos cards where high security is important? Do you want to take that question, Martin?
I think I lost a little bit there now. Now I see it, yeah, the third-party printer. Yes, you can use, as we showed previously in the slides, you can generate new ADFs on the card and use which print if you want, or you can use the same ADF that they're using for access control if you want. Another option is to use the open ADF that also exists on the Seos card for third parties to write and store information on the card. And the open ADFs are available on every Seos Credential widget. So yes, it's absolutely possible.
So new Signo readers have support for iPhone, NFC, Apple Wallet. How can we use it?
So I can take that one now.
Perfect.
So the Apple Wallet functionality is something that is launched by Apple. So it's nothing HID has launched. And currently Apple are using this with their student IDs in North America. And it's up to Apple whenever they want to offer this possibility to other regions. We have seen other companies offering NFC, read and write using iPhones, but those implementations are not using the wallet, and they are not secure from that perspective that they're not using the secure element. So, yeah, the current is not available in this region.
Thanks, Martin. So, good question here from Maria. For Seos with the MyFair 4K implementation card, does the MyFair element has SIO technology as well?
No, currently the MyFair implementation is blank, but we can also offer it with a HID MyFair. For security, we recommend to use the Seos, which contains an SIO out of the box.
Right. Can Seos cards be wiped clean of data and reissued to another person?
Yes, they can, using the three-layer policy. But just to add to that, that also means that you need to have the credentials to be able to do that. So you can't wipe a card unless you have the proper credentials.
Can I ask about SE readers and multi-class readers? Yeah, so Seos is supported on the standard Seos card is supported on SE and the multi-class platforms, of course, as well as Signo. The Seos key fob is not supported with the SE readers, but of course can be utilized on the new Signo platform. Lots of questions. So just scrolling through and trying to see the common questions that we get asked.
I have a good question here, Matt, if it's okay.
Yeah, good.
There's a question, why the read range of a Seos credential is a little bit lower compared to iClass and MyFair. The reason for that is, first of all, Seos is based on an ISO standard where they have regulated the strength of the RFID field because you want to avoid card skimming through the wallet system. So that's the first requirement. The second thing is that, in general, the higher security you have, the more RFID power you will need. And when you take RFID power, you will reduce the read range. So if you compare Seos to similar security cards like the Desfire EB1, the read range is very similar. But if you compare to older technologies like Classic or iClass, they do have great read range because there's nowhere near the amount of transactions and advanced security taking place in the communication. That's nice.
There's a question here, Martin. Can we do sector programming on Seos with MyFair Desfire on a single chip?
So with the Seos card combined with Desfire implementation, both parts of the credential are fully compatible. So you can encode SIO on the Seos card, you can encode custom data on the Seos card, and you can also encode on the Desfire implementation. So the reader is competent enough to be able to select which application you want. So the answer is yes, it's fully compatible.
Is it possible to download the presentation? So the link for all the collateral will be sent to you all tomorrow, with a link to this recording as well.